Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Kfir Yeshayahu with us today. Kfir is working on IronVest right now. He's working on something quite interesting in cybersecurity. So like preventing fraud and friction for banks. He's hiring, by the way. So if you want to work at that great company, you can DM him on LinkedIn. He's live from Israel. His company, I believe, is headquartered in New York, and just an interesting guy altogether. Was an SVP of products before that. Veritone worked at AWS as well. It's not his first company. He's MIT educated. So, Kfir, welcome to the pods. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you for having me. We started IronVest as a group of founders that go back many years together. Some of us over 20 years, and we went to different walks of careers and learned a lot about AI, cybersecurity, financial institutions, and fraud. And we, at the right time for us and for the industry, I hope, we came together to solve a big problem. The way we see it, we want to eliminate fraud, starting with financial services, and then across the internet and digital world. And this is what we came up to do, and we raised a good amount of money from amazing investors. We're just after the second round now. We're building up the technology, which I can tell you more about, hopefully going after the mission of eliminating fraud.
Right, and tell me a bit more about that company itself. Why did you decide to leave your comfortable job at Veritone and start this company and risk itself?
Yeah, well, that's more of a personal story, right? The job in Veritone was amazing. One of the first, if not the first, what's called pure play AI companies that went public on NASDAQ. Nowadays, you have C3 AI and Palantir and all sorts of companies like that build like a multi-cognitive model platform across all types of cognition. And mind you, this is way before GPT, not even GPT-2, right? At that point, we built phenomenal platform, and we went after at least half a dozen different industries: media, entertainment, government, etc. And I had the pleasure of managing all of those product lines and technology and data science and all that under the CEO. Fantastic time, very exciting. At the height of AI, like we would have CEOs come to us and basically consult about what's going to be our AI strategy, etc., etc. And nowadays, everyone talk about it, but back then it was novel. When I came back from California to Israel with the family, we also made an acquisition here in Israel as part of Veritone. And at some point, I said, okay, now is the time to start something of my own. Started working with this group of friends from old days. And at the point we had, at least we thought, we had the good idea, the good partners, and the good strategy. Made a decision with wife and family to jump ship, say goodbye, and start a new journey. That's not easy, but very fun.
And why cybersecurity exactly? Why is that important for you and for the world right now?
Yeah, first of all, I have a lot of background in cybersecurity. It just happened to be this way through previous roles and jobs that I had. But also, and then I became more of an AI kind of focused, in the different jobs that I did. I think the combination is phenomenal. First of all, AI is going to make a hell. It's going to be a hell for cybersecurity, because AI is a fantastic tool for the bad guys, like never before had a tool like that the bad guys can use. And this is the time for the good guys to utilize the same type of technologies to keep everyone safe online. All of us went through COVID-19, and in general, just our lives became more and more digital. Cybersecurity is the basic. Like, you can't have solid, meaningful digital experiences without the safety and security and privacy that you have in real life. So I view that as a mission. We start with financial services, but we will go beyond that as well.
Right, and your solution, from what I read on the website, one, it's Boolean approach, and most of the current system, it's designed to prevent, rather that actually most of the system right now is designed to detect fraud once it happened, not to prevent it, right? How do you actually create a solution and make sure that fraud doesn't happen? And how is it different from the current solutions?
Yes, it is. It is Boolean, not statistical, and it is preventative and not about detection. But let's get more philosophical to make it more fun, right, for us to converse. Most organizations today think about fraud in terms of how they protect their building, their physical locations. They put a guard on every door. In the best case scenario, it's on every door. Sometimes they miss a door, but best case scenario. And then once you're inside the building, they have a bunch of signals, right? Anything from security cameras to key cards to Mission Impossible type lasers that prevent you from getting to the diamond, right? But that doesn't work in the digital world, right? In the online world, that type of security doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work, which by the way took us a long time to get to the bottom of it, the reason it doesn't work is identity and action in the real world, in the physical world, come together. It's combined. In the digital world, it is not, right? A fraudster can utilize your credentials or even your active session to do something else. They can utilize the network that you're using to perform a different action that you intended to perform, right? So there's a separation between identity and action. And this is what we spent like over a year and a half to take this philosophical idea of bringing together identity and action and building a bunch of IP, a couple of different patents, technologies, and actual production code that does that using existing capabilities in AI, computer vision, mobile, internet, etc.
And biometrics is like the core cybersecurity nowadays. Is that like the best solution we have to validate that a customer is who they say they are? Isn't there like a way to hack that?
But biometrics is one factor, one out of many, but it's an important one, right? When you and I, let's play a ridiculous scenario. When you and I talk right now, we share information freely because I recognize you, you recognize me. If I walk out of the room and someone completely different, come and sit in my place, I don't think you would continue the conversation from the same point, right? You would assume that I'm not going to share the same information. I'm not going to believe the same information I'm getting. Now, that's a completely ridiculous thought when you're thinking about you going into a physical branch in a bank. But when you're going online, this is happening all the time. Someone is literally taking your seat and continuing the conversation with the banker online. So biometric is one factor. There's multiple: your device, your location, your behavior, whatever you see on the screen, your actions that you're taking, everything else, right? But once we take all those components, create identity for them, and bind them with the action continuously, not at the login, continuously throughout the action, same as the physical world, then you can achieve the same level of security and fraud prevention that you can achieve in physical branch and things like that.
Right. And with deep fakes coming, like that is becoming even more important now. How do you make sure that the end customer is not negatively impacted by extra steps or bad UX? Like if they're boxed out of their accounts, but they're really who they claim they are. Like I see that sometimes with my own banking app. Like how do you make sure to not impact negatively the customer experience?
Yeah, I think at least what I heard is two different really good questions. One about deepfakes, and it's a big problem across many industries. Luckily, our solution has the advantage of time because we do it continuously, so it makes it exponentially harder to fool the system. We also have detections for deepfake, but it's going to be a cat and mouse game, across the board. But your second question about user experience, this is something we didn't realize when we started the company, but it became the biggest selling point of the solution. We remove all of the friction from the process. Forget a bunch of OTP codes in SMS, authenticators, call the branch, knowledge-based questions, authenticate yourself a bunch of times. Forget all that. Just perform your action, have our solution, Action ID, continuously verifying you for the bank, and just do whatever you want to do. And once banks understand that, once the UX people, not the fraud people in the bank understand that, this is when the thing click, and it makes gives them a ton of motivation to consider the product.
Very interesting. Now, what are your priorities as the product guy in the company this year? What do you have on the roadmap?
Yeah, I would say the roadmap kind of split into three parts. One is more of the deep research that we're doing around, deep fake detection and improving biometric liveness, the algorithms that merge all of the solution, cryptography. This is one part that we keep enhancing. We use a lot of the industry, readiness, technology readiness that's already available out there, but there's more to invent. The second part is just the sheer size of the system, right? We want to grow. When you sell to a bank, to a big bank, it's like millions of users, many millions of transactions, peak times. So it's a system that need to scale really well and perform really well. So that's a second part of our roadmap. And remember, there's many systems that scale today, but this system collect a lot of information that's unstructured information, everything from video, screen shares, images, locations, streams of data, etc. So it's not trivial problem. And the last part is banks today have layers of protection because identity is separated from action. They need a bunch of different statistical metrics to collect. So part of our roadmap is to continuously make those layers redundant over time and replace and improve those capabilities in the market, so we can take more and give more value. I don't want to talk in terms of replacing, but give more value to the bank by implementing the solution. So these are kind of the three channels that we work on.
Right. And what's been challenging about building that company since you started it?
First of all, we made a decision to, more on the business side, we made a decision to go after financial services because this is the way to impact many people fast in terms of just the scale and the sheer volume of the people you can improve their experiences. And financial services have more apparent fraud. Like fraud translates to dollar amount in financial services in banks as opposed to e-commerce and other social media, etc. So we made that strategic decision, and that's not an easy market. That's a market that takes long time to sell, require, everything from brand name to technology matureness, references, network. So it's a hard and requires time to make the go through the sales cycle. Luckily, we raised enough money at the beginning to build a company that can sustain long sales cycles. So that helped us to sustain this strategy. But if you're asking about the challenge, that's definitely a challenge.
And the sales, tell me a bit more about the GTM measures that you have right now, the GTM motions. Is it LinkedIn outreach, is it ads, is it SEO? How do you stand out in that very crowded market?
Yeah, so apparently, there's lots of banks and the TAM is huge on the one hand, but the people who make decisions about fraud and digital experiences, those two types of roles, right, two types of decision, it's a very small group of people compared to other industries that I had worked in the past. Anything from government, media, entertainment, energy. There's a ton of people you can reach out on LinkedIn, cold emails, etc. In this industry, you have to really pinpoint, and we go after our network. We go after creating a network of industry veterans as advisors who can get us in front of decision makers. We go after very selective conferences where those people gather to discuss the next evolution and vision in fraud and digital banking. So it's a much more targeted, specific approach to market as opposed to casting a wide net and trying to fish those people.
Do you leverage AI in that sales aspect? And also, do you leverage AI at the product level nowadays?
Yeah, we leverage AI at the product level in many different ways. Anything from computer vision, as I said, analyzing deepfakes. We're using LLMs to make some of the kind of core decisions in some of the features. So there's lots of use of AI, machine learning. Like any company, like most companies today, we make more and more use of AI internally in the back office, right? Marketing materials, sales enablement, analyzing sales calls and sales motion to get insights. Even product development, right, is utilizing a ton of AI today. At least my idea as a CTO and COO is to use it whenever you can at the bleeding edge. We have that advantage over some of the the big guys. Like if you're in Amazon or in MasterCard, you can't use AI however you want. In IronVest, I can use AI however I want, right? So that's a big advantage. It lets people move like 10 times, 100 times faster when it's applicable. So that's really part of our kind of mindset in the last year and a half, 2 years.
What does a day in your life looks like? At what time do you get up? What habits do you nurture as a top CEO to be more productive, to be more happier? So tell us about the day in your life.
Yeah, first of all, I have a bunch of small kids, so they usually wake me up in the morning, and the beginning of my day is not work usually because it's making sandwiches and dropping them in school and kindergarten, etc. So this is how I start my day, and there's no sleeping late unless I'm extremely tired and let my wife do that part for one day and then switch. But then I come back. We work half remote, half at the office. So depending on the day, either make the drive and make a bunch of calls, usually listen to technology podcasts, etc. Start the day, lots of meetings with the Israeli team, meet the kids after school, and then start the second day, right? Because when the US, the the second half of the company wakes up in the US, the other side of the globe, start another day, pick up, cup of coffee, walk up to my office and start the second day in those 24 hours.
Love that. Yeah, I see that in a lot of CEOs and founders. Kfir, where can people find out more about you and your company?
Well, we have our website, IronVest.com, LinkedIn. Everyone's very much welcome to reach out to me directly. I love having conversation about the company, AI, technology, what have you.
That was Kfir and Charles for another